could do anything. My God could do anything. My God could do anything. My God could do anything. His miracles and blessings I just can't explain. The sufferings, trials, tribulations, and pain. When I can't breathe, heart racing real quick. He says your work's not done, so it's not time yet. I never have to worry, cause he's always here. And when I don't feel him, I know he's still near. Worst times in my life when I thought I couldn't make it, God pulled me through the fire and said with him, you could take it. My God could do anything. 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 Listen, praise is my weapon when I'm going.
Hey, everybody. God bless you. Happy New Year. It's a new year, a new start, a new day, and for some of us, a new way. Welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show, the show that is all about balance. Welcome. I hope you all have been really, doing some new things in the new year. We're here in 2018. We made it. Yes. I'm excited. I hope that you are excited. So many things have been going on already in this new year, but I want you to focus on the positive. I want you to focus on your dreams and your visions that God has given to you and shared with you. Keep hope alive. Keep your hope alive. Keep your dreams alive. Keep everything that God has given you alive, because he's going to do great things. Great things are going to be manifested. This is a great year of manifestation. So many things are going to be going just in a positive direction, an upward direction, and they've already started. So we welcome you, we welcome you, we welcome you. Wanted to give an acknowledgement to Elder Faith Hall, who faithfully watches the show all the time. Thank you, Elder Hall, for just being there with me and assisting me with the new ministry, Balanced Life Ministries. Many of you know God blessed me with a ministry and the different things that we've been doing. I thank God for Elder Faith Hall. She has been right there with me, by my side, helping me, maneuver through different, phases of, building a ministry. So I thank God for her. And also to the Balanced Life Ministry people that follow, on Facebook and all, the things that I'm involved in and whatnot. I thank God for all of you from the Balanced Life Ministries and for all of you that support Balanced Life Ministries. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and God bless you and God keep you is my prayer. And to all the followers of the Crystal Jones Show, thank you. You make this show great and exciting. The questions that you ask, just being there. Some of you tell me that you see the show and you tell me what you like about the show, and you even have suggestions and all of that. And those of you who want to come on the show, thank God for you. I've been hearing back from people already this year saying they want to come on and express their gifts and their talents. And I'm so happy for you too. So thank you. But do me a favor, go to my page, The Crystal Jones Show, and remember to press the like button. Like the page. Check it out and see what I've got on there. As many of you know, last year in the summertime, we even got T-shirts and hats now. The Crystal Jones Show. I want to thank all of you who got some, T-shirts and hats from me. And, you enjoyed wearing them. And, that helps, people even see on the street and ask, well, what's the Crystal Jones Show? And makes them tune in. So thank you all for doing that, for blessing me in that way. So we have tonight, we're going to have again Mahesh Bridges. He's back with us tonight. We're going to hear from him later on. There's great things that he's doing with his company. He and his wife, they're doing a lot of great things. So we're going to be hearing from him later on in the show. But we have some announcements. If you could put the announcements up. It says, yeah, announcements. It's not coming up. Okay. It's okay. One of the announcements we have, it says, come be a part of our Wealth, Prosperity, and Abundance program. This is through Mahesh Bridges and his wife, Chandri Bridges. They're having a program. It says, allow 2018 to be the year that turned your life around. Let wealth and prosperity become a serious part of your life. Experience a true game-changing opportunity that will set you free from struggling with money problems and poverty. January 12th, 2018, that's this coming Friday, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's at 876 Girard Avenue between 161st and 162nd Street, across the street from Yankee Stadium. They're going to be on the second floor. Please call at 914-979-6372 to find out further information for how you can attend this great event. That'll be this Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's their Wealth, Prosperity, and Abundance program. So go and be a part of it. It's only for 2 hours. Go out there and be a part of it, and I'm sure you're going to learn much. The other announcement that we want to have, you could put the announcements back up, is that Pastor Crystal Jones is graduating from my clinical pastoral education program. Yes. Next Thursday, the 18th, I will be graduating from my clinical pastoral education at one of the local hospice hospitals. That's a part of pastoral training and chaplaincy training as well. As many of you know, in 2017, I became a United States chaplain through the New York division. So we went further with it, and we're doing our clinical pastoral education, because when you're pastoring, you have to be able to touch people from every walk of life. And people in hospice are at the end of their life. And I've been in this program for 5 months, and it has been one of the most rewarding experiences in my life, because we take life for granted. And I got to see people right at death's doors, and thank God for many of them, I was able to usher them into the next life. Because when you're visiting people that are in hospice conditions, you're meeting some people that are ready for what's on the other side, and for some that are not. But for those who are, as the scripture tells you about being absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. At some point, you are going to be face to face with the Lord. Yes, you are. One day you will. Life doesn't stop here. There is an eternity that exists outside of this life. And when you're in hospice training, you have to help people come to their truth, their own truth, not forcing Christianity down their throat or anything like that. But what is their truth? For some, their truth is that they will meet the Lord on the other side. So you usher them from this life to the next. But in between, they go through things. They're a little maybe nervous about it sometime, or just, sometime leaving this life, leaving their family, knowing that they're not going to see their family again on this side of life, can be a little rough for them. So comforting them with, some of them are comforted with scripture, some with song, some with just you being there with them in the moment, just sitting and just being there. And then dealing with other people who don't believe in God, or they feel like this is it. This is the end of the road. They'll tell you straight up, well, I'm dying, Chaplain Crystal. I'm dying. So that's it. That's all. That's all I want to hear. I'm glad you came to see me. but this is it. And they don't want to hear nothing else. So you have to also be able to be okay with that some people are going to accept God and live beyond this life, and then there are others that are going to just reject that there even is a God and just decide to die and go on. And you have to be okay. You have to learn to be okay with that. Because even in your congregation, though people come to church every week, believe me, a lot of people really, there are people that don't believe in God or that there is an afterlife or anything, but they appreciate you showing them the love to stop by and see how they're doing, and just sitting with them in the moment, or for some people, walking them through their darkness, because some people are at the position they're at because they've walked through a great darkness and never got a chance to get through it or talk to anybody about it. Sometimes you go into the room and you meet up with people who say, I'm mad at God, or I don't understand. Why did he let my life be so bad? And you have to be able to deal with these type of issues, So this has been a very rewarding experience, because not only did I learn to deal with them, but also their families. Sometimes their families they're just tearing up because they know that their loved one is about to die. And you meet people in all kind of conditions and positions at that time, and you have to be able to encourage them as well. So this is the program that I'll be graduating from with one of my clinical pastoral education units. I'll be getting probably about 4 or 5 over the next, 2 years. But, I made it through this one, so we'll be graduating next week. And then, I'll be doing other credit units as well. And pray for me, because I'll also, be going back to school for divinity, with my master's and doctors. So a lot of study. But the Bible does say, study to show yourself approved. A good workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. You learn how to study the Bible and not just take it at face value, because the Bible was written both in Hebrew and Greek. And if you don't go and use your commentaries and study the then and the there and bring it to the here and the now, then you're gonna misinterpret a lot of times what was written, because you have to realize that the first converts were Jewish. So you have to understand what goes on in the Jewish culture, what went on in the Jewish culture at that time. And then after, that, when, those who weren't Jewish were converted as well. Remember when Christ died and then the disciples went out and they were spreading the gospel. Those other people, those in the upper room, those people were from different cultures. So God is a God not of just one culture or any denomination. Remember, he's God of the universe. So you need to understand how he worked in the Jewish culture, because they were a chosen people. But in order to understand Jesus, because remember, Jesus was Jewish, and a lot of time Christians forget that, and we want to make him Americanized or whatever, but Jesus was Jewish, and he did celebrate those feasts. And you need to know why those feasts were and still are important, and what they mean and what they will mean, the millennial reign and the rapture and different things like that. You need to get to know it. You're a Christian, why? You need to understand that. Being Christ-like, what does that mean? So you need to be able to interpret your Bible. A lot of people quote Paul a lot. Paul said this, Paul said that. But what was going on in the culture at that time? All right. So those are the announcements. I'm going to share with you tonight. I have a word to share with you. Those of you who follow me on social media, you know that Sunday I really had it in my spirit about the dream that God has placed in you for the new year, to not let it die. Don't let that dream in you, just die out like that. So tonight I'm going to continue with what will become of your dreams. What is going to become of your dreams? That book that, God wants you to write. If you're an author and you've kind of been ignoring it because you're like, who, me? I don't know if I could do that. Could I really go to a book signing? Yes, you can. You can do it. If you're a play production writer and you have plays that you want to put out and things like that, yes, you can do it. Whatever it is that you want to do, God has given you dreams and things like that and placed in you gifts and talents. And I expressed in a 3-part series on Sunday, so I was moved by that sometimes your dreams and your gifts and your talents and stuff are meant to give away because God has blessed you with them. They will bless you, but there are people that need your giftings and talents. They're meant for you to share with others. Others need to be touched by the things that were placed inside of you. So I share that with you. Now, sometimes what's going on is that your dream now needs to go to another phase or it needs to go to another place. Sometimes where you're at is your holdup. You might need to move to another city, another town, another country even. Sometimes what God has stored up in you for this season is not for those in your household or your family, your close family. Sometime at this time, he's sending you out to be a blessing to people that you never even knew before. If you read in the Bible, a lot of times these Bible greats that we talk about, Moses, he had to leave all that he knew to become who he was. And then he came back and was a blessing to his people. But he had to leave all that he knew. Remember, he was brought up in Pharaoh's house. But he had to leave all of that. And then eventually he was able to come back and be that blessing to his people that he needed to be. And many others, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and I'll stop it at Joseph, because Joseph was who was burning in my heart to talk about Sunday, how he was hated by his brethren because he was brought up in a dysfunctional family somewhat, because his father had, wives and concubines, and his father kind of had the audacity to treat him as the favorite child. His father had like about 12 kids by these different women, and he decided to make his son, Joseph, a coat of many colors. And what about the other boys? So Joseph was anointed, and he was prophetic, and God dealt with him in dreams, and he would tell his dreams to, his family. And they were like, who this little boy think he is? He younger than all of us. Is he kidding me? And Joseph had those dreams where the sheaves, they were in a field and sheaves were bowing down to Joseph's sheaf. And his brother said, oh, wow, he's trying to say we're going to serve him. And the story goes on where he had, dream where the sun, the moon, and the sun, the moon, and the stars had bowed down to him. And then even the father said, now, wait a minute here. You trying to say that we going to be bowing down to you? Little did they know that Joseph was having leadership dreams. God was showing him at 17 years old that he was going to be a great leader. He was going to lead his family out of Canaan, because Canaan had went through, there was a famine in the land. And it was all over. It was in Canaan. It was in Egypt. And Joseph was going to be sold into slavery by his brothers, the ones who were jealous of him. They couldn't stand him. They said, let's kill this dreamer, because not only was Joseph favored by the father, but Joseph was a snitch. He used to tell on them what they were doing in the field. If you get a chance, go to Genesis, the 37th chapter and the 20th verse. And they were talking about how they were going to kill him. If somebody could put that up, please. Genesis, the 37th chapter and the 20th verse on the screen. And they were plotting and planning against Joseph. They wanted to take him out because now they really couldn't stand him with the dreams. So they said, in the 37th chapter of Genesis, the 20th verse, "Come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." So now they're saying, okay, the little snitch, we're going to kill him. And we're going to, tell our father that he fell into some pit and a beast ate him up. But what happened is one of the brothers saved him alive and said, no, don't kill him, just leave him there. And one of the brothers was going to come back and get him. But there it is. It says, "Come now, therefore," like I said, "let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." So they said, well, we're going to kill him, put him in a pit, and then we're going to see about this dreamer's dreams. So at that time, they could not even deal with his dreams because it was time for Joseph to leave. It was time for him to leave his father and his mother and all that he knew. And had maybe God told him that in the dream, he'd have been afraid and not done it because he was spoiled. He was brought up under his father being the favorite child and able to do his own thing and all kind of stuff. So no doubt he, maybe would have been afraid, but God saw differently. Sometimes God will put you in a position where you got to go. So God allowed him to be placed in a pit, but he went from the pit to the palace. So he was sold into slavery. They sold him first to the Ishmaelites. Then the Ishmaelites sold him into Egypt to Potiphar's house. And Potiphar and them saw that God was with him. See, just because you're in seems like a bind or a bad situation doesn't mean that God is not with you. Sometimes God has to put you in situations so that he could help save other people, so that his glory can be seen in you in dire straits. They had to see that even though this young boy was placed in a bad situation, their house was blessed because of Joseph. And the story goes on and tells you about how Potiphar and them saw that, wow, that their place was blessed because Joseph was there. So for them to acknowledge that, means that they knew that there was a God. So they knew that God was with Joseph, and they treated him kindly, and they made him over the household and everything. But then, see, when you get promoted, there's opposition too. Then came Potiphar's wife and lied and said that he was trying to rape her and all this kind of stuff. So Potiphar threw him in the jail, in the prison. But then the prison guard found favor in Joseph. Joe, you can't mess with God's people. When they bless, they just bless. I don't care where you put them, they bless. So then the prison guard made him over all the prisoners. So he was the correctional officer. Isn't that something? Joseph was a CO in Genesis. He's the Genesis CO, correctional officer Joseph. So Joseph was the correctional officer, and while he was there, he was able to interpret dreams of the different prisoners, and their dreams came to pass. And come to find out, eventually, Pharaoh had a dream, the Pharaoh of Egypt, and he needed somebody to interpret his dream, and he asked the people, and one of the prisoners who was one of the king's servants has said, I remember a guy in the prison when you were angry at us and you put us in prison. He told us our dreams and it came to pass, and I was restored to my place, and the other servant, his head was cut off. And he said, and it came to pass just like Joseph said. So Pharaoh called for Joseph, said, get him in, get him up here, get him up here. I got to, have him, because Pharaoh first ran to the magicians. No magicians, come on. So Pharaoh first was trying to listen to the magicians, but they could not interpret the dream. Why? The dream was of God. You can't interpret no dream from God unless God interprets it to you. And he can do it through his servant. And Joseph was his servant. So the first thing Joseph said when Pharaoh sent from him, Pharaoh said, Joseph, I heard that you can interpret dreams. He said, no, I can't do it unless God tells me what the dream means. He let him know, in other words, Pharaoh, I ain't here for no show. I ain't trying to act like I got it all like that in 5 bags of chips. Without God, I am nothing. He was humble enough to humble himself and realize where his gift came from. Your gifts come from above, like it says in the book of James. Every good and perfect gift comes from above, from the Father of lights. So he honored God, and God gave him the interpretation for Pharaoh. He told Pharaoh, your dream is one. There's going to be a famine. And for 7 years, it's going to be a terrible famine. And then you'll have the 7 years of good, and then you're going to have the 7 years of the famine. You need to get a man over this land so he could start saving the grain and stuff like that, so you save people alive. And so he put Joseph over the whole land of Egypt. Now, Joseph was from Canaan, and it was an abomination for them to be amongst the Egyptians. But when God sends you favor, I don't care who don't like you, God will make them love you. Because Joseph was sent there to save not only Egypt, but as the story goes on further, the famine struck so bad it hit Canaan. Now, his father thought that he was dead. All those years, Joseph had grown up from 17, and he got married, there in Egypt, and he became a great person in Egypt. He was in government. And the famine was so bad that in Canaan, the brothers were looking for food. The brothers that wanted to kill him were looking for food, and they came to Egypt. And when Joseph saw them, he said, oh my gosh, my brothers are here. And he played a little trick on them and whatnot and told them they got to go back and get their youngest brother, because the youngest brother was from the same mother that Joseph was from. And Joseph wanted to see the younger brother, that he was okay and everything. And he had them come back and everything, and he revealed himself to them. He said, I'm Joseph, your brother. He said, you meant to kill me, but God meant it for my good so I could save many alive. He saved the people in Egypt alive and Canaan, which is his own household. So his father was old then, and he sent the brothers, said, go get my father and bring him to me. I haven't seen him since I was a boy. And they brought Jacob and Joseph. They grabbed each other and they cried, on each other, because he hadn't seen his father, and the father thought that he had lost Joseph. He thought Joseph was dead because his sons had lied to him and said, yeah, well, an evil beast done came and got that boy. So they thought that they were going to kill his dreams. But the dream that they hated wind up saving their lives. So I'm saying to you, what will you do with your dream? Don't let your dream die. Don't let it die, because all that Joseph went through, he kept the dream alive. He still knew that God was with him when he was in Potiphar's house. He knew God was with him in the prison house. It was a long wait, but finally he started to advance and be over everything. Only God can give a Hebrew person over everything in Egypt. He was not Egyptian. He was not Egyptian. So you may be a person that feels like, well, I can't write books because I don't read well or whatever. It matters not to God. It matters not. What he wants is a believing heart, and he wants you to follow him to the full in that dream. So keep your dreams alive. But I want to ask you, what is going to become of your dreams? Don't let your dreams die. Don't let them die. Whatever it is you need to do, if you need to go back to school, write that book. I told y'all I'm writing a couple of books, and I'm trying to finish up one, but I keep going back and writing down more and writing down more, and even my songs and things like that. I still keep recording them as they come to me and whatnot, but I'm still keeping that dream alive. All right, so we want to just leave that with you. What will become of your dreams? All right, get busy, y'all. It's 2018. All right, so without further ado, we are going to introduce again. Many of you know him. He's been on the show before. So we're going to introduce Mahesh Bridges. We're going to bring him back, and he is going to talk to us about what his company is doing now. So welcome back to the show, Mahesh. Happy New Year.
Yes, thank you for having me on, my sister. Yes,
and
indeed.
we're glad to see you again, another
Glad
new
to
year.
be
We're
here.
glad that we all made it. Thank God for the blessings
yeah.
of making it another year. And we're glad to see you all still moving in the land of the living, but in the land of blessings. So we, just want to hear a little more from you about what's going on with your company. I think you have a couple of companies, actually, right? So tell us about what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, right now, as you had stated earlier, this Friday we're going to be having a event where we're going to be doing a wealth manifestation program, where we're going to be showing people actually how to draw wealth and prosperity and abundance into their life. Unfortunately, the way that we've been taught, money is the root of all evil. You can't really become wealthy or have really a lot of money in your life. Just stay in your lane and just do whatever little things you could do. And the other thing is that we're trying to show people that that is not the definition of who they are.
Right.
We've been taught that, unfortunately, that you are a limited human being that can only do but so much. But even as you said earlier, even with Christ, he had spoken out to people and was trying to tell them that you are not just a regular human being. One of the things that Christ said that was very powerful, he said, ye are gods, but ye die like men. Now, a statement like that should make somebody scratch their head and say, wow, what did that mean?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because basically, if Christ, the Son of God, told you that you are not just a regular person and you die like regular people, why? Because you do not believe in the higher teachings that I've been trying to bring to you.
That's
and
right.
the higher teaching that I'm trying to bring to you is that you are like unto God. When I say like unto, in the Old Testament, it says you are made in the likeness and image of God.
Yes.
So I don't want to get something mixed up here where I'm saying you're just as good as God or even more powerful. No.
Right.
You are, just like Christ said, like a son or daughter of God as well.
Exactly.
And because you are like a son and daughter of God, you have immense, great opportunities of abilities to do wonderful things, miraculous things in your life. But the problem is, do you believe it?
Right.
And we've been taught that that's impossible. You cannot do anything that Christ can do. He's way up on a bookshelf 1,000 miles away, so you can never reach him, and you can never do nothing like him. But that's not what he taught us.
Right.
He was saying that these are things that we can actually obtain in ourselves, but we have to go within ourselves and actually transmit an understanding of faith and understanding to know that that aspect of ourselves is real and we can actually plug into that. And once we go into that dimension and really start to believe what Christ was saying to us, that we can achieve a lot of miraculous and wonderful things in our life, that's when those things can start to happen.
That's right.
And it's understandable why so many of us feel like, are you sure? I don't even believe he put that in the book. But it is in the book.
It sure
and
is.
if you actually do read that and understand what Christ was trying to say, he was not saying a joke. He was not high on heroin or some kind of drug or got drunk one day and said that. He spoke from the spiritual truth of God.
That's right.
And he was trying to tell us the ability of what we can do with ourselves and with our lives. But the problem is, being that we've been taught from a child on up that, hey, what's the old saying? Hey, I'm just a human being. What do you expect from me? There's only but so much I can do. Come on now. I'm just human. You know, and that's the attitude and the belief and the faith that most of us have, because that understanding of what Christ was trying to bring was not really conveyed clearly to a lot of us. So therefore, when you hear things like what I'm saying now, it almost goes in one ear and comes out the other. But the reality is, for those that can actually have an open heart and an open mind to what I'm saying, that gives you an ability to actually be able to do some huge and fantastic things with your life.
Right.
And the reason why you can do that is because those innate abilities of actually supernatural powers like unto Christ are alive and well within you. But in order for you to activate that and to bring that to the surface so that you can experience that, you actually have to believe that what Christ was saying was true.
Belief is the key.
Very much so. So if you can actually come to a point in your life where you can actually say, you know what? I believe what Christ was saying. I believe that I can do some very, fantastic, miraculous, and awesome things with my life. But even though society is trying to tell you that you're very limited, you only could do but so much, the reality is that that's not true.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that there's no limit to what you can do, because once you realize that the power of God is within you, and that, as Christ said, the things I do, you can do and even more.
Amen.
Whew, that was a powerful statement. I almost fell out my chair when I read that one. I was like, whoa. Christ walked on water. When the scribes and the Pharisees were trying to kill him, they put, both of them had grabbed the arm. One had one side of him, the other one had the other. So we bring you down to where we going, and we're going to hook you up. Come on, And they started to bring him down there, and all of a sudden, Christ disappeared. And they was like, oh, shoot, where'd he go? He's gone. Whoa, Then when he was walking on water, all the disciples were in the boat, and he said, well, come on, one of y'all come out, or some of y'all come out and walk on the water like me. Y'all could do this, y'all could do this. And Peter said, well, you know what, Christ? I believe I can do this.
Right.
And Christ, told him, come on out. And Peter walked halfway out to where Christ was, and then a negative thought came in his mind. What in the world are you doing? You can't walk on water. You're a regular human being. What is wrong with you?
Doubt.
What are you doing? And once he started thinking that he couldn't do this, because even though Christ told him he could, he started thinking about, well, from a child on up, I ain't never seen nobody walk on water. I know I can't do this. He started going into that fear and that doubt state of mind, and then he started sinking in the water. And Christ went up to him and grabbed him so he wouldn't go under the water, and he looked at him and said, ye of little faith. So we have to have faith in Christ to know that these things are capable for us to do and to accomplish. And once we understand that manifesting wealth, having a better lifestyle where we can be a blessing to others and really be about giving and helping, and that's even another thing that's a great gift. When you give to others, the Lord is going to bless you 100-fold. It's going to come back to you. But when you just think about, well, hey, things are cool for me, and, I'm doing pretty good. I got a good paying job. I get about $60,000, $70,000 a year, and I live in a nice house, and, I'm doing well, so, matter of fact, I ain't even in the hood no more. I moved in a nice neighborhood, and I'm looking out for me now, And just like I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, that's what you're supposed to do. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and good luck to you, Because I know you ain't looking for no help from me. Those are the kind of attitudes where we shouldn't really have.
That's right.
We should be about giving and allowing the spiritual love of God to enter our hearts and minds. And we should want to definitely reach out, not to hurt people, but to help people. And in so doing, we're going to be blessed tremendously.
That's
because as you bless others, not only are you uplifting them, but you're also uplifting yourself.
That's
so these
right.
are some things that we need to realize, because we cannot be in that lower state of consciousness and expect to really be blessed up on high.
Yeah.
Because what Christ is trying to tell us is that if we can have the love of God in our heart and want to help others, if we can reach out and really have faith and know that we can accomplish, the things that we believe in, the dreams that we have, we may think are our own little dreams, but God has placed those dreams inside of us.
Yes.
And he said, here, all you have to do is have the faith to believe that you can accomplish your dream in life. I've given you a purpose. Each person that's come here on the planet Earth has a purpose for being here. You're not just here for the sake of just, having some pizza on the weekend and, getting a little vodka or whatever, or doing whatever else you want to do. The other side of the story is that you are supposed to accomplish your God-given purpose here on earth. And the question is, do you believe it so that you can achieve it? And the problem is that so many of us don't believe that we're able to accomplish our dream because we see ourselves in a very limited state. And what we're going to do at this affair on Friday is actually show people and just break it down to you the different things that you can do so that you can accomplish success in your life financially. And financial is just one aspect of it. But one thing that you got to really understand, that without having enough finances, number one, it's a very demonic thing that you got to deal with. Because if you don't have enough money to feed yourself, you're in trouble. If you don't have enough money to pay your rent or your mortgage or something, you're in trouble. If you don't have enough money to buy food and clothing for yourself and to take care of your family, you're in trouble. And guess what? So many people find themselves in that position. But how do you come out of that? You have to be able to see yourself as an empowered son or daughter of God. And once you understand that, then it's going to allow you to really elevate yourself to a whole nother level. And not only that, we have a group that we meet every Sunday. And basically when we do meet, we come together and we pray for the healing of our community. And I think one time I may have shared that with you, but what happened in Detroit at that time, we had a brother that came to us from Detroit and said, listen, I heard you guys doing your meditation and prayer thing, and we just had 2 or 3 brothers, young brothers that got killed in a gang shootout, and I was wondering if you could, help us out with this. And we said, yeah, no problem. So the following Sunday, we got together with our group with him, and we did the prayer. And then when it came time to the meditation, he was saying, you know what? I don't know if this meditation thing's going to work out, because he said, I'm driving a cab right now.
Oh,
and I got a feeling if I start to meditate while I'm, driving, I'm going to be in trouble. I said, this is going to be your last meditation, brother. So I said, definitely, you're going to have to do more than just that. I said, well, why don't you do this? While we're doing the meditation, since we already did the prayer together, you come back in about 30, 45 minutes and we'll get together and you could tell us if you noticed anything different in Baltimore that happened. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? He said, I'm going to drive through the troubled areas in Baltimore and see literally if there's something that, might be of difference or change. And he drove through those areas, and he said he couldn't believe it. So when the half an hour was up, we actually, he had called us back, and he said, yo, man, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, what happened, brother? He said, what happened was the fact that I drove through the troubled areas where the gangbangers and the drug dealers and everybody hang out. And he said, I grew up in Baltimore. He said, since I was a little kid, man, I used to go through those areas at times. But he said, every day, those knuckleheads would be hanging out on those street corners. And, he said they would be there, And he said, this is the first time I've ever drove through those areas and didn't see one person hanging out on those street corners.
All right.
I said, really? He said, yeah, that's what happened, man.
God does
I
it.
said, well, you know what? I said that comes from when you project that you want to see an ending of the violence, and you are asking God for his mercy, his loving kindness, and his grace to actually come through for you and actually change the situation that you're dealing with. And he answered our prayer, you know.
That's
and
right.
we had envisioned that happening, we had seen that happening, and we had asked God for his grace and mercy for it to happen. And it happened.
That's
so he
right.
said, wow, man, I'm really glad we did connect, because that's what was needed, man, because these guys, man, they don't know how to say no and put an end to the, you know, the violence and stuff sometimes. So what ended up happening from there was the brother was very, you know, glad that, you know, we had done that with him, and we were glad we were able to do that too, and we were very thankful to the Creator that he had actually blessed the situation.
Right.
And the violence had stopped in that area, so we were really thankful for that. But the bottom line of what I'm trying to say is, even as an individual, you can work on your dream, right?
Right.
But you can also come together in spiritual unity. And in spiritual unity, there's an old saying in the Bible, if 2 or even 3 people come together in my name, I shall be there in the midst to bless. All right? So that means that coming together in spiritual unity, whether it's your church, whether it's your masjid, whether it's your Hebrew temple, or whatever other religion you're in, the bottom line is, when you come together and ask God for his love and mercy to actually bless your community, to stop the violence, to stop the poverty, to stop all the negative energy that's going on, whether it's domestic violence or other things that are happening in your community on an intense basis, it can actually happen for you. But you have to even come into the mindset to believe, you know what? This can actually happen. We can achieve this. But the problem is, if you don't believe it, you definitely won't achieve it.
Right.
And that's what even happened with Peter. Now, he was one of the main disciples of Christ. Before that moment, he went into a thought of doubt and fear, and he started sinking in that water. And Jesus came up to him and said, ye of little faith. So we have to have some serious faith in Christ.
Yes.
We have to actually believe that we can achieve those dreams. We can achieve bringing about the healing of our community in spiritual unity and coming together. And instead of looking at, well, oh, I don't want to be with them Muslims, oh, I don't want to be with them Christians, oh, I don't want to be with them Jews, I don't want to be with those Native Americans, instead of coming up with all the reasons why you don't want to come together with other groups and all of that, think about this. God is divine love. And if you're going to be a reflection of God, you should reflect his love, his divinity, his love. And if you can reflect his love, then it's not going to matter to you whether a Muslim or a Hebrew or a Christian or a Native American or African religions. It doesn't make a difference what religion it is. We are all brothers and sisters on this planet that should come together to bring about world peace, to stop the violence, stop the poverty and other negative things that are happening in the world. And guess what? We can do that.
That's
the problem is, do you believe it? And do you actually even want to try to achieve it?
That's right.
And because so much doubt, so much fear has been filled in our minds and hearts to tell us that we can't do these things, therefore we don't even strive to try to do it. But we need to come together to do it. Because I've seen where Muslim and Hebrew and Christians have come together when there was massive shootings from gangs that have come together, and they came together and they started praying together. The churches and the Hebrew temples and the Muslim mosques, they all came together and they started praying together, and that miraculous energy started kicking in, where all that violence from those gangs stopped. And this thing is not a once-in-a-blue moon thing.
That's right.
But the thing about it is, we just need to know that we can come together and deal with it. And even if you as an individual starts to know that by you utilizing the power of the spoken word, which is something that is very powerful. You know, when Jesus spoke some things like thou art healed and, you know, many other things that would happen, it would actually bring into flourishing, into full manifestation what he was saying. If you keep repeating over and over again that I am a true son or daughter of God and that I am trying to achieve this or I'm trying to achieve that, guess what? you're going to be able to be there.
Okay.
All we have to do is really go into that state of mind where we actually
Start
believe
speaking it.
and really know that we can speak it and believe it. Because those are the two things that's a powerful combination. Having faith in the power of the spoken word,
Yes,
and
God.
also knowing that once you start to speak it, it's going to start
It
to
comes
manifest.
pass. Yes, it does.
And the other piece that's really important is actually visualizing it and going within in the meditation, actually seeing it and believing it and then achieving it. Because once you start to see it inwardly, and you do this on a regular basis, in the morning when you wake up, in the
Yes.
evening before you go to bed, and even if you could, find a time in the afternoon to do it around lunchtime or something, just a few minutes of actually
That
seeing
meditation.
your dream and see it not, well, I hope this can, no, it's already happened. You're seeing the
Yes.
full picture of your dream coming into
Walking
full
in it.
manifestation.
See yourself walking in it.
Yes, indeed. And once you see yourself in that position, once you see it actually coming into its fulfillment, then guess what? It's going to happen because you're fulfilling what God has sent you here to do. All right? And that's very important. And those are some of the things that we're going to speak about on Friday. The power of the spoken word, the power of visualization and meditation, the ability of giving and how that is a blessing. And also another thing that's very important is God's divine love and forgiveness. If your heart is filled with nothing but hate and anger towards whether it's your family members or whether it's a used to be friend who is now an enemy, and you have nothing but hate and anger for them, that's going to bring your energy down. Because who is that being that portrays hate and anger more than anybody else? And that's the guy with the two little horns on his forehead. Let me tell you. And you do not want to emulate his energy. You want to emulate the power and the blessings of God by being, because, many people will tell you the true identity of God is God's divine love. That's what God is truly all about.
Yes,
and if
he
we're going to
is.
really try to reflect that energy, we're going to try to truly be about reflecting God. So when we're loving, even those people that may have done us wrong, to forgive them is to raise yourself into that divine energy of God's love. Forgiveness and love is very important. And once we go into those realms, it just raises us up to a high frequency and energy rate where when we start to visualize, when we start to speak about the things that we want to manifest, they will come into full manifestation.
And with that, I also, see where, like you said, we'll be a magnet.
True.
We'll be a magnet. We'll be able to, people will gravitate to us because they
There
see
you go.
something different. There's a peace, there's something generating through us now. We're glowing. You and I had a laugh before we came on tonight about being glowing.
Right. That's right. Yes,
So
indeed.
when you're glowing like that, people want to see. They want to see that light, even though it might be bright for them, but it's a wonder for them because they
There
want
you go.
to. They want to flow toward it.
Yes.
Nobody really want to be in darkness. And so when they see that light in you, that from just like you said, from that meditating and everything, that puts you in a whole different state, and people feel it. They'll tell you, they'll say, you know what, it's something on you. I've had people tell me that. They say, it's something on you. It's like you're glowing, but you're glowing with something. And I feel it, like, they feel that spirit
There you
of
go.
love, that spirit of care and concern, and they just feel it, and they want, to be a part of it. Even in the hospice hospital, when I would go around and whatnot, they say, come on, and these are people that you never normally would meet, and they're at the end of their road, and some of them, they'll say, come on in here, tell me about you, who are you, what is it that you do, and sometimes even the ones who tell you that they don't pray or they don't believe in God, they'll say, pray with me. and they may have never believed, but there's something radiating from you
Exactly.
that they want to know, who is this God that you serve? And can he help me? Can he bring something, to me? And I think the other thing of it is a lot of time we're a magnet too when people see us always showing that gratitude toward God, showing that we're not doing all of this of our own strength.
Right.
So we thank God for, giving us this divine wisdom and divine power and, just this divineness to attract things to us, not just the favor of people, but wealth. Because like you said, a lot of time we grow up and people are, have felt like wealth is something that's evil. But it's the love of money. If people would really read the Bible, right, it said it's the love of money that's the root of all evil, meaning you make that money your God. You make it, like you said, well, I got mine, you better get yours. So now it's all about the dollars. It's the love of money. When you love money above everything else, that's idol worship.
Right.
You are putting that above God, the giver of life. The giver of life, you don't even need money.
Right.
How many times have you experienced where God, there was a bill or something that stood in the way of you getting something.
Right.
And God said, he sent somebody to just say, you know what? Give it to him for free.
There you go.
Or knock down $2,000 off that bill. Or he sent somebody that you never seen before to pay it forward.
Exactly.
You at the bridge and all of a sudden the toll goes up and the guy says, going through, he paid for you. And you like, who? So they say the guy in the car before you, and you like, thank you, Lord, because God can do that, and he doesn't need money. He could just give you favor.
Right. Exactly.
Sometimes he'll put you in positions and things where you just have favor. I'd rather have the favor of God more than anything else, because when you have God's favor,
that's it.
You will just walk in every realm that he wants you to walk in, because when you have his favor and you grab a hold to that, you will glow, because you're going to do everything he said. If he tell you tonight, get up out of that bed 3 a.m., I want you to walk on that water. You going to get out there and walk on that Hudson.
That's right.
You're going to walk on that water. You're going to do the
right.
things that you never thought you could do, because you can't do it in your own strength.
Right, exactly.
And if people would really think about some of these apostles were little fishermen before they met Jesus.
Right. So
It
wasn't like they were already there for years. They said, oh, yeah, Jesus, we've been doing this for years. Come on. They were just like you said, just simple fishermen.
They were simple people. Some of them might have been, doctors or different things like that. But still, even in them being whatever they were,
right.
those first disciples that Christ had, they were regular, everyday men. And so, like the song said, my God can do anything. Yeah. So, Benjamin, before you leave, Mahesh, before you leave, give them your information.
Right. Well, you already shared with them where it's going to be, but the phone number where you can reach, just in case you have any questions, is 914-979-6372. That's 914-979-6372. So please give us a call, and we would definitely enjoy having you join us, so that this 2018 could be something that could take you to that whole nother level, and a wonderful place for you to be to start things off for this year.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. And enjoy this 2018 and get busy with that dream. Walk on that water. Make that dream happen with your belief in God and your walking forward. See, God loves, you know what touches him? Your belief. When he sees that you believe as you go forward, he will go before you. And whatever's in your way, he will move it out the way. And the things that he allows to come upon you, he'll be there to strengthen you and walk you through it. So God bless you. Thank you for joining us again. Again, happy 2018. God bless you. We love you here at the Crystal Jones Show. And you know, I always tell you, you, and you, stay balanced. God bless. See you again next time.